Today, I will demonstrate how to create a new bar style and modify it to fit your requirements. Before we start, please ensure you already have one dimension style you plan to use for your reinforcement. Let's begin. Navigate to the ribbon and select the bar style command. A dialog box will appear, displaying the current active style for your reference. Now let's create a new style. To accomplish this, click on the New button. Within the New dialog, you have the option to assign a name to the style. Let's name it Rebar. Additionally, since we lack any existing styles, we will use the default style as a starting point by copying its settings. Once these selections are made, press OK to proceed. Next, click on the newly created style and then select Set Current. Now we can make modifications to our style. Click on Modify. The window is divided into 4 quadrants. Leader. This quadrant handles all aspects of the leader and its contents. Cover and spacing. These settings control the cover on the bar and define various visual options related to the cover and also the bar spacing. Preview. Here, you can see a preview of a typical bar object with the current style settings applied. Just a note, the preview only updates after you press Apply. Bar and range. This section allows you to configure visual display settings that go beyond the scope of dimension style settings. Above the leader container, you have the option to select a dimension style to be associated with the bar style. It's important to note that this setting doesn't lock a dimension style to a bar, but it sets the default associated dimension style for the bar style. Leader. The first set of controls is designed to help you create a list of options for the contents of the leader tag. The top text box can be filled with standard text, variable codes, or a combination of both. You can build the leader option by selecting available codes from the right drop-down menu and adding them to the text box by clicking the arrow button. CNT represents the member count variable. MLT indicates the multiplier if it is specified. NOF stands for the number of bars represented by the object. DIA signifies the diameter. MRK refers to the bar mark. SPC denotes the bar spacing. PSC represents the bar postscript, also known as the tag. After assembling the label as needed, you can include it in the list using the Add button. To delete an entry from the list, simply select it and click Remove. If you wish to edit an entry, highlight it in the list and click Copy. You can then paste it into the top text box by right-clicking and selecting Paste, or by using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-V. To adjust the order of entries in the list, choose the desired entry and employ the up and down buttons for rearrangement. The following set of controls pertains to multiplier codes that can be applied in the postscript field. The first control is an editable drop-down text box where you can input a multiplier abbreviation or select one from a list of existing abbreviations. When entering a new abbreviation into the box, you must also input the corresponding multiplier value in the Multiply By text box. The default value is set at 1. Click the Add button to include the new abbreviation and its associated multiplier in the list. If you choose an existing abbreviation from the list, the corresponding multiplier will be displayed in the Multiply By text box. To remove the selected abbreviation from the list, simply click the Remove button. The last 5 settings pertain to display parameters that influence how the leader is depicted. Mark factor. This factor adjusts the size of the bar mark text relative to the defined text size, either increasing or decreasing it. Mark color. It determines the color of the bar mark in the label. Choosing by block adopts the text color specified for the label. Kink leader on insert. This setting determines whether the leader kinks when a bar is inserted graphically using the Add Bar dialog. Landing factor. This factor multiplies the text height to determine the leader's landing distance. Center floating tag. It configures the center text adjustment when the label doesn't have a leader line. Cover settings are based on the bar's definition axis, considering it from a perspective where the bar has no rotation for a 0-degree angle. Typically, top cover is applied in the northern X direction, side cover to the eastern and western Y direction, and bottom cover to the southern X direction. Cover and spacing. Offset grips. Places bar grips on the cover line. Show cover border. Displays the cover line. Snap to cover border. Enables snapping to the cover border. Top. Specifies the perpendicular distance from the bar lines to the top cover. Bottom. Specifies the perpendicular distance from the outside bar lines to the bottom cover. Side. Determines the perpendicular distance from the outside bar lines to the side cover. This only adjusts the default cover for when a new bar is inserted, but can be changed per bar in the drawing as required. Side cover on range line. Applies the side cover offsets to the range line grip points. Cover border color. Sets the color of the cover line. Exact range line spacing. Maintains the spacing of bars exactly and applies half the residual on each side of the range line. Space bars to range line. Calculates spacing in the direction of the range line instead of perpendicular to the bar rotation. Note that this is not recommended as bars cannot be spaced according to the range line orientation on site. Link spacing of bars. Links the spacing of all bars with the same mark number. The bar and range section encompasses settings related to the visual display and style of the bar. Bar line style. This setting dictates the line style used to draw the bar. The options we have is the following: single line, double line, inner line, solid line, 3D extrude, center line. Non-schedule bar colors. Specifies the bar line color when schedule equals no. This helps the CAD operator to quickly see what bars are being scheduled. The bars will be printed according to your plot style setting. Pick a color accordingly. Show dims display symbols. When show dims equals true, this option displays vector symbols. Rebar dot size. This parameter scales the diameter size of the dot representing the bar when it is viewed in section or as dots. In the As Factor box, you can specify how the dot size relates to the bar's actual size. For example, if you have a Y16 bar and the As Factor box is checked, the dot will be 16 millimeters. If you uncheck the As Factor box, the dot size will be determined by the value you input in millimeters on the left side. Bar mark on curtailment flags. Enabling. This adds the bar mark when you activate bar flags on the bar property. Range to bar dot. These settings pertain to the dot at the intersection of the range line and bar. Open dot determines whether the dot at the bar to range line intersection is open or hatched. Scale sets the scale of the dot where the bar crosses the range line relative to the dimension or annotation scale. Range dot color specifies the color of the aforementioned bar to range line dot. Slide leader on range line. This option controls the movement of the leader on the range line when the first leader grip is adjusted. If not selected, the leader snaps to the start, end, or intersection of the bar and range line. Show single-stepped group bar. This setting allows for the display of only one bar in a stepped group, as opposed to showing two. After configuring your bar style settings, you can apply them by clicking the Apply button and then confirm the changes by clicking OK. Thank you for choosing AddoSoft. We're dedicated to enhancing your CAD experience and value your trust in our solutions. Have a great day.